Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract two mixed numbers where we need to regroup in order to accomplish our task. So we're going to take 7 2/3 minus 4 5/6. The first thing that I need to do is that I need to find common denominators. And I'm going to do that first by finding our lowest common multiple between my denominators. So I want to find the first place where 3 and 6 meet. Now if you don't know that in your head, you can always come over here to the side and you can count by 3's and you can count by 6's until they meet. And I know they meet at 6. So the first place they meet is called the lowest common multiple, or commonly referred to as just the LCM. Alright, the LCM. Alright, or the lowest common multiple. I'm going to use my information over here, the lowest common multiple, to find my common denominators. Alright, I need to make the denominators the same, which are both going to be 6. Alright, so I'm going to look at the 3, my denominator, which is the bottom number. I'm going to look at the 3, and I'm going to look over here at the 3, and I'm going to see how many times did I use this 3 to get to 6. So I used it 1 time and 2 times. That means that I need to multiply by a form of 1 that looks like 2, so I can get my 3 to a 6. I'm going to do that by using the identity property of multiplication. Remember, the identity property of multiplication says that any number, let's say 20, that is multiplied by 1 is going to equal that number. So it's the identity property of multiplication. We can take 100 times 1 and it's going to equal 100. We can take 10 times 1 and it's going to equal 10. So any number that's multiplied by 1 is going to equal that number. Now with fractions it's a little different because we're actually changing the way the number looks. We're still going to have 2/3, but it's going to have a 6 on the bottom of it. So I take my denominator and I count how many times I use it, and I used it 1 time again. Oops, sorry, that was supposed to be a 3 up there. Let's go ahead and put a 3 up there so we can see 3. I used it 1 right here 2 times. Alright, so I'm going to take a form of 1 that looks like 2 over 2. And I'm going to take 2 over 2, I'm going to multiply it by 2 over 2. Alright, that's the identity property of multiplication. I'm going to still end up with 2/3, but it's going to look a little different. And then of course I can see that I used my 6 right here only 1 time. I don't need to do anything with it. If you want to, you can. You can say it's 1 over 1, but you're going to end up with the same answer. And then I'm going to multiply straight across. I'm going to have my whole number, which is 7, and I'm going to have 2 times 2. I'm going to multiply my numerators, the top numbers, and I'm going to say that's 4. Alright, so I'm going to multiply my top numbers, and that's going to be 4. And then I'm going to multiply my denominators, which are the bottom numbers, so 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'm going to have negative, or minus, 4 and 5, 6. Alright, so I use the identity property of multiplication to get my common denominator. So I can see that both denominators now are 6 on the bottom. That's what I have to have. I have to have equal sized pieces. What does the denominator mean? It means that if I have a whole piece like this, it is cut into 6 pieces. So I have it cut into 6 equal pieces, and I'm going to try to draw equal pieces, but they didn't come out because I'm freehanding it. But those are 6 pieces. That is my denominator. And now I'm going to multiply my numerators. Or not multiply, now I'm going to subtract my numerators. But I can see that it's going to be difficult to subtract my numerators because I have a 4 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. If I only have 4 pieces, I can't take 5 pieces away. So what do? I need to regroup. So I'm going to regroup so that I have a bigger numerator on top than on the bottom. So I need to regroup for my 7. So I'm going to take my 7, I'm going to cancel it out. I'm going to put a 6 here. I'm going to take that 1 and regroup it over here, and I'm going to add it to this fraction. Well, I know that if I add fractions, I have to have the same number on the bottom. So I have common denominators, because I have to have common denominators to add. The number on the bottom that I see is a 6. All right? So I know that I have to have a 6 on bottom, and if I'm a form of 1, if I'm adding a form of 1, I have to have a 6 on the top. All right? Because 6 over 6 equals 1. And I looked at my denominator to tell me that I needed a 6 over 6. And then I can add my numerators together. I'm going to get rid of this thing right here so we can continue. Okay, so over on the side, I'm going to bring my whole number over, 6. All right, bring my whole number over, which is 6. And then I'm going to add my numerators. 4 plus 6 is 10. Of course, my denominator stayed the same. I still have 6 pieces. Minus 4 and 5, 6. Now you can see that my denominator, my numerator is 10, and this numerator is 5. If I have 10 pieces, I can definitely take 5 away. So that is what regrouping did. I take the 1 that I borrowed from here, and I shot it over to this fraction. I just rewrote it as the fraction, 6 over 6. And I got that from my denominator right there. So I'm going to take 10 minus 5 is 5. I still have 6 pieces, and then I subtract my whole numbers, which is 2. So 2 and 5/6. All right. So a couple of things that you need to be aware of, a couple of review things. If my numerator, if I have 2 fractions, and my denominator, my numerator on the bottom is bigger than my numerator on the top, I have to regroup from my whole number right here. And how do I do that? Well, I need to add the 1 to this fraction. So I'm going to cross off my whole number. I'm going to put a 2. I'm going to use that 1 that I borrowed, and I'm going to look at my denominator to know what form of 1 I need. So I'm going to look at that number right there, the 8, and I know that I need a form of 1 that looks like 8. So I'm going to have 8 over 8. I'm going to add it to that fraction. That's taking the 1 from my 3 and I'm bringing it over here to my fraction. And then I'm going to add those numerators up. That is how you regroup. I hope that helps. Thank you.